I say to those, especially those devils and demons that come into this world, to just come in to keep on experiencing life because you lust after it, you're messing with fire. To sit there and say to someone that you love them just to keep feeding off them and to gain protection is wrong. It says feed off of no living thing. I'm alive. And I walk in this world meek. I ain't trying to deceive. I ain't trying to mislead. I ain't trying to lure. I'm not trying to catch. I'm not trying to cage. I am just walking in this world meek through my life experiencing, trying to learn and understand and gain a knowing as a light and love. Like, I learn in love. That's all what I want to grow in is just love. I want to reach a point of being where I have all understanding, all loving, all knowing, because that's my heart. You know, that's it. And when you try to attack those, or go against those, or put away or dismiss those that all they do is love you and cry for you because they love you, that's treason against the heart of Christ. When you say you love the heart of Christ and you know, go against it in all ways, then that's blasphemy. All those that use the word when they sit there and say, I love you, you are going in blasphemy against the heart when you go cheat, steal, lie, so don't tell someone you love them if that's not fucking true. If you're going to cheat on them, you don't love them. If you're lusting after others and chasing the world, you don't love them. And I try to explain that to my children because they don't call. And I try to tell them this causes me great distress, great pain, great suffering. And they are going to go through the same thing until they stop going against me, which is the heart of Christ. I don't say I don't build myself up. However, when you strike your mother and go against her, you're going to receive darkness. You're going to be in despair. And that's what I keep on reaching out to my biological children, the ones that came from the flesh. And I'm like, why do you do these things? I sit there and send them text. And, I try to communicate with them, and they just put me off. And I don't understand this. I don't understand why their dad sit there and, worked so hard to cause division between me and them, because all I do is love them, and all I have done. It's like he was jealous the whole time because I so loved them for some reason, and didn't have that for him. Well, he had a mom that so loved him, and he put her away. He wanted just someone to be for him. However, he didn't treat his own mother good. If you don't love your mother, then you're not going to sit there and receive love from any other. That's just the truth. And if your mother puts you away, then then yes, you will probably find someone to love you, or arms will open up to you. The spirits don't deny others love. Walking with the heart of Christ, I have received love and help and shelter and stuff like that because I give it to others. um However, you can't demand from love. You can't be spoiled, but you will receive love. But to those that, go against those hearts, just because of, hatefulness, that you think you're better because of religion or politics or whatever, then you will receive that same spoonful of medicine. And I try to be calm with my children because I don't want them to receive that, but they're going against their mother, and they don't really respect their father, which I understand. I understand it, but at the same time, he is their father. You can't go against your father even though you're upset at him. You can't treat someone like dirt just because they're an asshole. That just makes you an asshole too. And that's the truth. two wrong turns don't ever make a right. So don't mimic somebody else's behavior. I know I've done it before, and it just doesn't do any good. That's why, I'm just done. I'm not going to mimic an asshole, and I do tell the truth. I'm going to tell my children out there that what the truth is and how they affect me. And all should use their words and sit there and say, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like your actions towards me. I don't like the way you move towards me. All need to use their words and cut through those bullies, because all they are is bullies. And the biggest bullies are the ones you give your heart to, because they think they can, that when you give your heart away, they don't respect you. And all mothers give their hearts to their children or to the man they love, and it's chaos out there. And of course, men will sit there and give their hearts to the women they love and to children that just sit there and don't give two fucks. I just want everybody to wake up and realize what they do to one another. Just stop. Stop being divided against each other. Stop coming against each other to hurt each other. Stop being arrogant. Stop being in groups. Just stop. This fucking, like my daughter, she said, well, I just talked to my friend on the phone and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, don't you think that's a little fucking mean when there's other people that love you and I'm trying to sit there and text her and communicate with her and I don't know what she's, I can't hear her voice. I would rather talk to someone face to face because I can hear their voice. I can look into their eyes. I can see their body language. Those that hide online, you can't trust what they say. You can't trust those feelings they put out there because they're just projecting. And most of the time they're going through a movie reel and they're just projecting what's going through, but that's not who they are all the time. They're just projecting, that moment that they're thinking. It's basically just thinking and projecting. I know that I am going through pain and suffering from being separated from my children. I know this. Why? Because I've experienced years of it. And even when they went to school, I'd sit there and have, separation anxiety. And, my ex-husband hated that too. And, I just did. That's who I am. I'm not going to sit there and go get on a pill for it and I'm not going to have other people tell me it's wrong or that I'm being needy or annoying. I'm sick of that shit because all I want is a call every once in a while. All I want to know is to hear their voice so I can register it in my head and in my heart telling me that they're okay. And when you think someone is just overbearing because all they want to do is know if you're okay, you're a shitty fucking person. And that's all I got to say about that. Like my ex treated me like shit because I didn't want to be a part of his herd of cows. He treated me like I was something was wrong with me because I couldn't be like the other women in his life and just get the dick and, be taken out every once in a while and be fine with that. I'm like, I love you. I'm not them. They don't love you. They just have attachment. But love is jealous. Love doesn't want you to sit there and run off. If a woman is okay with you running off with your friends or, talking to other ladies on the phone or whatever like that, she don't fucking love you. And if she does bring it up, and if you pay her off and she shuts up for a while, she doesn't love you. That isn't love. I can't be paid off. And I'm tired of those that are my biological children treating me like they do because they hurt me all the fucking time. And I tried to express this to them in a positive manner. and they're not listening to me. And so I plead out there. I plead with love, the highest crown. I was like, help me. I'm going through so much pain and suffering from this, what it is. I worry so much over them and I stress so much over them. And I don't like how I'm treated back. I don't want division between me and my children. And I want their eyes to be open, their ears to be open, their heart to be open, their spirit to be open, and their soul to be open to understand what I'm trying to tell them. I want them to hear and know. So I asked the heart of Christ, the mother of all, to please help me and heal me and calm me, and because I'm going through so much pain. I'm really wrestling with this. I don't know how to let it go. I love them. I do. I love them. This is hard for me. Really hard for me. It's been hard for me. It's been so fucking hard for me. And for men to sit there and try to to sit there and try to hurt a woman because she rejects them is totally asinine. And it is asinine for the woman to do the same way and use the kids as an instrument to strike their partner. I say I want that to end. I say that children should not be used as collateral damage. And those that go to court over kids and treat them like they're objects don't need to be a parent at all. I didn't fight my ex-husband in custody for the children. I just made him change some wording in the paper because the first divorce papers he brought to me in child custody, I was like, no. But I did agree for him to be the sole parent simply because, in this world, financially, I can't compete with him. That's why I gave him I think it's main household or whatever. Because I simply could not um I can't keep the environments here. I have tried really hard, but I cannot when I go out into man's world to work, I can do it for a little bit and then I get sick. It's not because I'm lazy. Believe me, I am hurting right now because I sit there and yesterday got out and um, worked. And I have been in a lot of pain and suffering, but I'm trying to grow food, because I don't, I don't want to be needy. I don't want to be labeled disabled in this world. So I go out. But I know most of my pain and suffering comes from my children just cutting me off. So I want all to be aware out there how you affect those around you. And I do my best. I've reached out to people all the time, but I know I can, those have been cut me off because they were chasing after the world. The man I love most cut me off because he wanted to gain access to his cows. And that's all it is. He wanted to milk other cows. And those ladies were more than willing because they're just, you know, to meet and greet because they wanted his money and they wanted his dick. That's just the truth of it. It wasn't, but they weren't after his heart. They told him whatever he wanted to hear. Of course, that's not my ex-husband. I didn't fall in love with him. He was just the father of my children that I chose due to his positive traits, as in, he was diligent in getting up every day and going out into the world and working. He kept, he stayed on that. Even though he wasn't the most lucrative provider, he still was a provider. He still put forth this effort. And he had a child from his, previous marriage, and she was what I considered very pleasant. He was intelligent. He didn't do drugs or alcohol, nor could he really. He couldn't drink. When he drank, it made him really sick. So I thought that was a positive, because I drank like a fish, so I really didn't want my kids to inherit, that genetic pool, because it is. It's a pool that, of the taste. I don't know why I enjoy the taste, and I did, and now of course, I don't even touch the stuff because well, I outgrew it. I gained self-discipline, and I outgrew my want for destruction like that, but he didn't have that, so that's why I chose him. Like, there's a deep down, like, spiritual, you also pass on spiritual traits to your children. So, I want them to inherit all my good spiritual traits, and just, and I try to speak to them about the dark ones, so that way they won't fall into darkness. That is why it is important to be spiritually aware of who you are and who your partner is. Don't just look at them from the material perspective of the flesh and what they can provide for you in the material world. I knew that my ex-husband would get up and be a provider no matter what. I just knew that about him. So that was part of it. However, we all have those little monsters inside, and he was very self-centered and self-absorbed and always running off. He didn't have any love for me. I was just there. So, and of course he got all pissy because I got tired of, putting up with his shit. So he decided to, do damage to the children. And he has. I mean, I'm like, they have damage because of his stupidity. That's why I encourage all those out there that are going through a custody battle and stuff like that. Put your children first, and their mental well-being, their emotional well-being, their spiritual well-being, their physical well-being, before you put your feelings into that. And don't be emotionally ruled over, having control. Remember, in this world, none have control, and when you try to step up and take that control and hurt somebody and manipulate and be like that, you are basically heaping coals on top of your head, because it's burning you out. Like, literally, it's going to sit there. Those hot coals are going to come in, and they're going to go all the way through you. And that is going to affect you spiritually. It's going to make you hollow inside. So if you don't want to be a complete zombie, asshole walking around, always superficial, and I know that those listening to me are getting tired of other superficial bullshit, but they talk about their clothes, their cars, they talk about what other people are doing, they have no concern or love for those around them. They're just all up in their own ass, sniffing their gases. And they don't care how they affect those around them. And they're willing to hurt anybody and everybody to get what they want. And no matter how much you try to, speak to them, they are still, they don't get it. Like, I've talked to many, and tried to counsel with many, and the spirits send me. Believe me, everybody, ancestors out there in the spirit, whether you want to acknowledge them or not, and the spirits will be concerned for them, and I'll be trying to talk to them about stuff. And mostly it's men I get talked to, and all they're thinking about is my flesh. Like, as I'm trying to speak to them, they think, how can I get with this girl? How can I talk to her? I want her to be mine. And that's not how it works. I am a light. I stopped going about as a messenger because of just the messiness of it, you know, and, you know, it's important to wake up, people. And don't be playing their games. Like, if someone wants to sit there and you have a big custody battle over the children, what you should do is both go into that court. You should talk to the judge, and, as a person, and say, look, I don't want to fight custody. I just want to see my children. I love them. I want what's best for them. And if you open your heart up and use your be respectful, then you will be heard. And that's what I basically, when it comes to the mother and the heart of Christ, and also to the father, I use my words to plead out. I'm not using a God's name. I'm not using a Lord's name. I'm not using a king's name. I'm just pleading out through the heart of the Christ, just speaking. So I say to those out there, you can speak out loud because it will be heard. Even though it's not heard by human ears, you will be heard. And I say to those, if you have to go to court or whatever like that, go in honesty. Tell them what the situation is. Be honest. Don't care about how they're going to judge you and your situation, because look, judges know the fucked up situation of everything. However, if you let yourself be known and who you truly are by heart, mind, spirit, body, and you say you want the best for your children, and that is truly in your heart, then you will get that outcome. I wanted what was best for my children no matter what. However, I don't think I should have to be suffering as I do because I'm separated from them and have been. I just think that's a little fucking mean. And it was mean of my ex-husband to act like that just because he is ass hurt. He's not heartbroken because he never loved me in the first place. And that's what I have to say out there to all. He never loved me in the first place. He demonstrated that through actions all the fucking time. If he did something for me, it was rare. And that's the way it was. I was the best wife possible, but I'm tired of going through this tribulation of, the stupid vows and shit like that. Because honestly, he broke his vows way before, I got away from mine. And I say to all devils and demons out there, before you throw stones at those hearts of Christ, know that you're nothing good and you're a cheater, liar, thief, and all that stuff too. My ex-husband always threw rocks at me because I love cannabis. But he chews tobacco, which is just as fucking, it's a bad habit. I love my cannabis. I plan on making teas and stuff when I get to that point where I can have quite a bit of it. And it's good for your body. No, smoking's not good. However, I love my cannabis. It calms me. I just enjoy it. And I'm kind of tired of those that, they pick and choose what is good and what is bad, or what is legal and what is not. And the only reason why certain things are legal and why certain things are illegal is because they're usually prejudiced, or the fact that they could not market it properly and make money off of it. Like cannabis now, they're having bunches of problems with it because it is, it's all about the spirit of growing it. It's supposed to be a natural plant that grows wild. Anyways. But that's what I say. Like, there is not a moment that goes by that I don't think about my children. That I'm not torn up inside about it. And no matter how much time passes, I'm not going to lose my love for my children. I'm going to miss them. I'm going to suffer because they're not around. It doesn't matter, because every day that goes by, it doesn't go away any less. You know, when you love someone and you're separated from them, then you suffer. That's just the truth of it. And those that can sit there and put you away for time after time, you know, without feeling any effects, then, you know, they have no love. Or they're denying it. And the worst thing you can do is deny your self-love because that person didn't meet your requirements or went against your so-called systems of judgment and condemnation. You know, men cheat physically, but women cheat emotionally. You know, it's just time for everybody to stop fighting and pointing fingers. Like, seriously, if you're not, you know, getting along in a relationship, then yes, you should separate. You know, it shouldn't be a big to do. I don't understand why people have made it such a big to do. Probably because it's lucrative to get divorced to the powers of darkness. I don't know. You know, our society, the world is going into darkness, and, you know, everybody's too hung up on, you know, being in some kind of power trip. When, you know, when people are, when you put yourself in a power trip, you always lose. You know, to do that is always lose. Like, I'll wrestle, you know, in the darkness, in the spiritual warfare, because I know it's worth standing up to darkness for. But when somebody wants something in this world and it's a material thing, I'm like, you know, that's why I didn't buy my ex-husband, because I knew that if I did, it would just deplete me, you know, and he would have won because it's a man's world. You know, I didn't have anything to my name. You know, that's just the truth of it. He was, he had his um, job level at a certain high, and that's how society looks at you. That's just the truth of it. I couldn't provide for my children at all. You know, I had to, like, for even after my divorce, I was with somebody to help me provide. This world is mean and ugly, and I really am trying to reach out to those out there. And, you know, in order to change the world, you got to be a light. It not start an organization, but be a light. Be loving. Speak truth. Slice through the darkness. You know, rise up to be above. Not think you're better than, but to be above the system that's into place and say, no, I don't want to feed into that anymore. I'm not going to act like that. I'm not going to do as the Romans do. I'm going to walk with the heart of Christ and put that nonsense away. You know, I'm not going to feed into the judicial system. You know, I'm not going to sit there and cry out victim. You know, because we're all murderers, liars, cheaters, thieves. You know, and to some life form, who are we to put ourselves above another life form? You know, I don't anymore. And it is what it is. But yeah, I'm exhausted. I really am. Because, you know, this whole, basically, I think it's been about 7 years of my life has just been, it has been tribulation. You know, I said, that's why I say I went through my tribulation. It has been exhausting. And now I just go through the trials and stuff like that of, you know, of what I'll do. And I know that it's affecting me, and I'm getting tired. I was like, you know, even though my feet are, you know, feet are swollen, my hands are swollen, I still get up and try to make food because I know that, you know, famine is crossing the land. So if I have food, you know, I can eat well, my mom can eat well, my children can eat well, you know, store food. Um, I'm doing my best. But I do have, you know, the darkness coming against me. And I don't understand why. I'm like, look, no matter what, I'm not going to give up. Look, in this life, you pop out that vagina, you learn to crawl, you walk, it's a stage, you know? And spiritual is the same way. You got to learn to crawl, walk, and you know what? If I have to, you know, take it one step at a time and barely move, then I'll get it done, you know? And I'm not going to be ashamed, and I'm not going to sit there and go, well, my age, I should, and no, I'm going to keep moving. And that's what I say to the darkness, and I say to the devils and demons out there. I was like, I will keep on moving, and I will keep on speaking truth. And I am rising all the fucking time. And I'm not gonna, look back and just turn into a pillar of salt. I'm not gonna sit there and be bitter. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be full of thorns and thistles. I'm not gonna do that because that's not what I want to do. I want to be full of life giving fruit. I want my heart to love all.